Right? Can I say something real quick, Trey? And then I'll shut up.
Don't
So
shut up.
I don't. This may not be a popular opinion amongst the women, right? But I'm gonna keep it 1,000. As much as we hate to admit it, a lot of these mothers raise these men this way.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna touch real quick on a personal topic. I had a relationship. It was super serious, right? I was everything. I was all 4 H's except the husband because I can't be a husband. I was three out of the 4 H's, and he was Trey. You better not tell my business. So he gonna know who I'm talking about. So Trey, I'm asking you, don't do it.
I respect you, mama.
I'm 3 out of the 4 H's with this person, and this person is running me through it. When I tell y'all, that had to be one of my biggest emotional breakdowns in my entire life. And after it all, his mama calls me with a straight face. It says, well, what is my son supposed to do now? And I said, ma'am. She said, yeah, you putting him out. Mind you, I'm paying all the bills. I'm cooking. I'm cleaning. I'm doing everything. And I say, ma'am. She said, yeah, what is he supposed to do now? You just putting him out. I said, what do you mean? She's like, well, he has no place to go. I said, man, he didn't have a place when he got here. He moved out of your house into mine. And she's like, well, what is he supposed to do? I was like, grow up. And I hung up on her.
Nice.
What do y'all think about that?
Nice.
I
think
nice.
That was the only appropriate response for that.
That's true.
So, because I got my memory be bad. So I'm gonna bounce back real quick, and I'm gonna come back to that. So I just wanted to say, when you I forgot who brought it up, but was talking about the raising of the kids. It was one of the earlier episodes that we did, and that was brought up. Like the way parents raise their son and daughters are completely different. Like you raise your daughters to be independent. You can do it. You don't need no man. You got it. You smart. You beautiful. You do it by yourself. So women are naturally brought up having to be strong, having to be the breadwinner, like just everything. Like that is forced upon you. And it's funny because as I was preparing to talk to you all today, I did some artwork of this strong, like warrior chick, right? And at the bottom I put, is he worth your crown? And then Madam D was like, yo, Trey, don't use that. And I was like, why not? And she was like, because most Black women are sick and tired of having to be strong. Why can't we be vulnerable? Why can't we stand up and actually be the man?
Hey James, speak on that for me, man. I want to hear from James, man.
iPhone James. You want to hear from me?
Come on, James.
iPhone James.
Come on.
I don't know why y'all put me in this section, but it seems to have its vestiges. Like if you look at the white female and corporations and in the world, in the business world, they don't have these same things. We have left the communities and we've left them unprotected. We haven't provided adequately for our women. And so they have to raise the kids. They raise them alone. They raise them without child support. They raise them without not even just the finance, but just the presence of us being there. We have failed our women a lot. We continue to, even in this election, we failed our women. You know what I'm saying? By supporting somebody who supports our demise. So, we got to get together, like Black men as a whole, being one. And my friends, some of them, I look at them like, yo, we have to be accountable for raising these daughters that are not able to depend on us, able to just, sometimes they just want to depend, like, it's cool it should be okay for them to depend on us.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's just not.
I just ask that people stop saying strong. Like, I don't want to always be a strong Black woman. Please don't. Like, to me, it's not an honor. Like, a lot of people see me with the girls and they're like, you're a mother of two. You're doing it by yourself. Like, oh my God, you're going to school. You work in corporate America. You do the show. Like, dang, you're doing it. I'm like, but I don't want to.
Right. Because you have to.
I have to. I don't have no option. I don't get to wake up in the morning like, you know what? Today I ain't gonna watch the kids. I'm gonna do everything but the kids today. I don't get that.
Yeah.
So stop. But I don't want to always wear that as a badge of honor. Some days I want to be like, you know what? I need the help.
I think the issue is how we define the word strong.
I'm sorry, Blue. I kind of actually jumped in a little earlier.
Get down.
And I would like to reclaim my time. Thank
you.
Enjoy.
So Brother, we'll make sure you're heard. I have to say something because I love my people. I do. And I understand, James, what you're saying about we as Black men have failed, but not all. And I cannot have this conversation be said as if all Black men have done that, because they have not.
No.
I know so many great Black men that are there, that are taking care of their kids, that are taking care of their wife, you know what I mean? Like, they are there, they are present. So I have to speak on that. I just have to.
I didn't mean all. I didn't mean all. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. But for the people that hear, they will only hear that. So that's why I'm like, we have to make sure that that's said, because we as a people, sometimes, some of us, like on Facebook, will speak as if it's in the totality. It's just
a sweeping,
it's a sweeping, right. And even with the election, I hear you, because it was 91% Black women that came to get Trump out, but it was also 82% Black men. So they were there. They were there, not as much as Black women, but they were still there. And then we got to talk about, what Tay said, that it may be an unpopular opinion among Black women about how they raise their male child versus their female child. And Brandon always says we always need to look at the cause and not the effect.
Root cause.
And we understand that Black men are targets. Black men, you're precious, you're kings. It's nothing like you. Period. Nothing like a Black man. And we know this with the Willie Lynchlet. I have it here at my house. You know what I mean? We understand, because of the Black man being a target, why so many Black women protect their Black child, their Black man child, and they don't equip them because they're so focused on protecting them, keeping them alive by any means necessary. And unfortunately, I feel that, yes, you are right, Tay. So many Black women are not doing their job when raising Black male children. They're just not. And I think we need to have a balance of protection in equipping them with everything to make sure that they are protecting the Black woman, along with being a man. Because a lot of times, like, I have 4 nephews, honey. When I found out one of them was dating some white girl, I was like, what's this I hear? What's this I hear about a Becky? You know what I mean? Because he's up there at Indiana, and it's like, it's a different world up there. And I'm like, brother, we got to
where you come from.
Yeah, so I have to talk to my nephews about that. You know what I mean? Like, do you see this? You see what your auntie looking like, right? You see what your mama looking like, right? You see what your grandma looking like, right? You know what I mean? So I think that there has to be a balance, and I just hope that our Black men, our Black fathers, our Black uncles, our Black volunteers, brothers are giving that word and planting that seed within the Black men, because it is not always our responsibility. So Tay, I hear you when you say Black women, Black mothers, but brothers, you are here on this panel. If you know one, teach one, reach one, because it does not always fall on us to
and
teach.
it shouldn't have to.
That's the whole, and I want to. That's the whole purpose of this show. So if you watch any of our previous episodes, it may seem like we come down hard on men, and specifically Black men, but it's not about us, just like talking down to Black men. It's really about this is a challenge to Black men to become the man that we know they're capable of being. It's not about us just talking trash or talking down or belittling Black men. When you're challenged by a Black man, somebody like one of us on the panel, the response to that is iron sharpens iron. It's a opportunity for you to accept responsibility for the state of things in your community, and then to step into your power. Responsibility is power. Responsibility isn't about blame, it's about authority. If you're responsible for something, that means you have the authority or the ability to affect change of it. Right. So when you're saying I accept responsibility, what you're also doing is stepping into the mantle of leadership and saying, okay, if I'm responsible for its downfall, I can also be responsible for uplifting it, right? And so I don't want any man watching this to think that we're just always talking trash about men. There's just a thing with men in this day and age where men don't hold each other accountable. And you see it in the rap game and all these other things, but a lot of men are they shy away from conflict with other men.
Can we just remove that negative connotation of me telling you the truth is me bashing you, me dragging you, me trashing you. Can we stop saying that?
Yes.
Can we not? I don't have to stroke your arm and tell you gently, hey, you're really messing up. Can you fix it? In a society where everybody, I keep it real, I keep it 1,000, I keep it 1,000,000. I find it odd that most people can't handle the truth. I'm not saying you got to be a jerk about it, like, hey, you suck. That's what it is. I'm saying that can we remove the negative connotation of constructive feedback? I can tell you, hey, you're a great man, you're a great woman, you're doing a great job, but here's where you can be better. As Joaquin said, iron sharpens iron. If I don't tell you the truth, I don't love you, period.
Yeah.
Hey, James, so, I hope I don't, I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off. All right.
Oh, you're good.
I hope I don't misquote you. So I'm going to try to paraphrase what you said. But on our last episode, James got into, when it comes to constructive criticism, ain't everybody Bob the Builder, for lack of better words. Like, ain't everybody equipped with what's necessary to build and construct something. So you need to be aware of where the constructive criticism is coming from. Did I get that right? I think
in a roundabout way. I think what I said was only receive constructive criticism from those who have constructed something. Okay. Meaning, if you haven't built something and it's the reference, and I think it was referring to like the source. Check the source of where the criticism or the comment was coming from. So I don't know.
Can I contest that?
Wait, okay. Hold on. Let Ari say her piece, and you can get back in your bag.
So the only thing it's okay. The only thing I was gonna say is I wanted to follow up on what LaCora said, because she said that we protect our Black men, and while we protect them, we also hinder them a lot. And I want to make sure that people listening to this show understand that it's one thing to protect them because we know that they're a target. It's another thing to just raise a man that can't lead. And the problem now in the household, and why Black women are always seen as strong, and like I said, I don't get to necessarily take a break, is because you haven't equipped that Black man to lead. He's used to a Black woman taking care of him because we're trying to protect him. No, teach that man how to lead. We gotta protect him and teach him how to be a man. Right. You know?
Don't protect me from being a man. Don't do that.
Exactly. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that to brothers. Don't do that.
But the sad part about it is that we discussed, a lot of brothers don't know what it means to actually be a man. And that's one of the purposes of this show. Like, you get so many false narratives on television, music, movies, what have you, and folks are running around here. Like, I think the perfect example, Joaquin, I think it was during when we were talking about beta males, he was talking about, he brought up sex and how we always think we know what sex is and how to do it because we watch porn. And he was like, yo, porn will have you messed up. You be in there, but wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And now you got beautiful Black women sitting on panels just dogging their exes because like they won't bring in the right vitamins to the mineral party. You know what I mean? So like it's a lot that goes into how we move forward and how we address each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also for when we're talking about Black men, we got to realize that those are like kind of like separate things. Like, we're talking about being Black and being a man. So the idea of what a man is in our society in general is already kind of skewed. It's already not like a healthy paradigm. And then you add in the Blackness on top of that, and it's like it's just doubling down. It's a difficult thing to teach a man how to be a man in general, and especially how to be a Black man if you're a woman. Like, it's just that's
Ain't no woman teaching a man how to be a man.
I'm saying women are doing a good job with what they have to work with. I can't talk down on these single Black mothers and the job they're doing because that's not their fault. I'm just saying that we have twice as hard work to do when it comes to raising a Black man, because you have to teach them to be a healthy man and a healthy Black man in a society that is it's just crazy. It's just a juxtaposition, because even so we live in a patriarchal society, so men should be right in a patriarchal society. Men are supposed to be like the cream of the crop, right? The top of the food chain, they're leading everything. But as a Black man, you're not seen as equal to a white man. So now you're kind of in this weird limbo position to where you feel kind of have a superiority complex for when it comes to Black women, but not when it comes to white men. It's just like it's really complicated. It's really complicated.
Which is super
I think
crazy
there are some
because
signs.
Black women are the most educated demographic
Yeah.
in the United States.
I think there are some signs that women pick up that they can't even identify. So because they pick it up spiritually. So there's some things that they can tell you they saw, but there are flags that they felt that they can't tell you. And a lot of it has to do with, okay, so narcissism makes you see the world in an unrealistic way and then live as if the world is the way that you see it, right? So that's your worldview. If we look at Trump, right? Trump wants to be the president, but he doesn't want to do the job at the same time. You can't separate those two. So we take things that cannot be separated and we try to take one without the other all the time. So as a man, you cannot have ownership without responsibility. If you're going to take ownership of something in any way, you are now responsible for it. Its upkeep, human, animal, thing, whatever it is. I'm looking to be responsible for it if I'm looking to own it as a man, right? This is now mine in this way. I'm going to genuinely look to add to it. I'm not looking just for what I can get from it that I'm missing from my life. I'm looking at, even if I'm looking at a woman, it's how can I add to this person's life in a way that justifies the things that I want? You know, if you walked up into a store, you wouldn't be like, you know, Sam Walton, I really want this, gimme. You know, like that's not how it works. That's not how the world works. If you want to walk out the store with something, bring enough to justify walking out of the store with that thing. And I don't think a lot of men think that way. Like, what can I bring to this woman that would justify what I'm going to ask her for? And if I don't have that thing, how do I feel comfortable asking her for it? That's unmanly in itself. That feeling of comfort that is not justified by what you are bringing to the table. And I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about genuinely caring. I'm talking about just being a certain kind of attentive that lets her know that she's a person to you. You know, there's people who don't feel like that's necessary in any type of relationship. So even if it is friends with benefits, and I'm not calling you every day, you still need to know that there's some level of I care what happens to you. You know, it's a balance. You don't completely not care. You're not acting like you totally don't care, but you just don't, you don't want that thing. So you don't, and a lot of men don't know. And going back to what LaCora was saying, she said, well, we are grown. We don't need to be taught things like that. I half agree with that. There's some things that are zero that we men sometimes think of as 100.
What do you mean?
It's actually the baseline, but we think of it as I need to get, you know, that's extra. No, that's what being a man is. Like,
oh, I see, like opening up a door,
right? It's
maybe like doing something, but it's like,
like
no,
he's really doing something. I'm like, there's those kind of things like initiation. The word man comes from a word that means to initiate, right? So
come on.
If you don't initiate and you always wait for her to do that, you are not a man.
Yes. Organ. Period. Blue, give yourself an organ. Okay.
So
So
if she has to teach you that in particular, that's a problem.
That is a problem, and that's what I was speaking of.
She should not have to teach you that. But in Tay's case, he may have just not known the signals that he was sending are not congruent with his actual intentions and what he actually wanted. And she is more mature in this is what this signal means to another person. Now, he didn't necessarily understand that. So from her perspective, that was a wonderful thing to give him and not just say, I'm out and just give up on him without letting him be equipped for the next situation in that way.
And Blue, it's not our job to equip him for the next person, though.
It's not your job, and it is your job because we're all people and we're all here to better each other. So
repeat that. You said it is her job and it is not her job?
Yeah, you can't. It is not. If you don't do it, you shouldn't be penalized. But if you do it, that's just being a human being that cares about others. So if I see that you need this information and I don't give it to you, that's a cruel act as far as I'm concerned.
Cruel? That's a bit extreme.
In her case, it would have been not cruel, but I'm saying in general, I see that you need this, I have it, and I withhold it from you. Why? Like, why would I do that?
And also, and LaCora, also, you have to realize that somebody else withheld that information from him previously,
And
which
that's
is
why
why
he's like
she
that with
ended
you.
up
But did
dealing
they?
with.
But did they is the question, because
They did.
Yeah.
some woman could have taught him well, extremely well, and it was up to him to decide if he wanted to take it and use it or dismiss it.
This is
So
all speculation. What we
cannot.
know.
I don't think
well,
it's-
I know it's speculation, but it's also speculation that you're saying that no woman has taught him that. Come on.
Agreed.
It's all
Okay,
speculation. That's what I
all
said.
right.
It's
No,
all
but
speculation.
let's
What we
challenge
know
that.
for a fact is this is something he doesn't know. So in order
No.
to
All right,
help
so
him,
listen.
what she was doing was appropriate. I'm not
Okay.
saying it would be not it would be bad if she didn't, but I commend her for doing so, because if that's the only piece he was missing, he can do better in the next relationship.
Brother Blue, I hear what you're saying, that we know. You're saying that what I hear you're saying is that we know that he does not know that. No, we know that he chose to operate in that way with Tay, but we cannot determine if he knew it or not and chose the latter. We cannot say that. We
Right.
know
You're right.
that he was a bum dude that thought that he was getting some benefits and that he was good enough to be on a different level when he did not study to show thyself
Okay,
approved.
we don't know
We
that
And
either.
LaCora, look, hold on, but
All
LaCora,
we
you
know
need to
is he's not
understand.
operating correctly. Huh.
But you also have to understand, just because you say something, don't mean I received it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Because
right. I
because
get that.
because for five and a
That- it's
half
not her-
years, I've
yeah.
been single, and I was told stuff during my relationship that I did not hear.
Right.
Sometimes
I
it-
was
some-
the
some-
one telling him
sometimes-
too. You know what I'm saying? It was
Yeah,
me.
Okay.
because
I told him
was
all
an
types of
ass-
stuff.
I was an asshole. You know what I'm saying?
Asshole. He was
You know
definitely an
what I'm saying?
asshole.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He was an
Because I was
asshole.
asking questions, getting the answers that I needed, yet
Yeah.
I still wasn't listening because you know what? That was not what I wanted to hear.
Yes.
Or it was a matter of I was in a place where I was unable to receive it. So it
You know
doesn't
what?
matter
You know
if
what, Trey?
said
You know
it.
what, Trey? I really learned the idea and the concept of divine timing, which is
Yes.
there's and even in the Bible it talks about blinders, how kind of like God was blinding people to certain things and being able to see certain things. And I really think that happens in day-to-day life where you're sowing seeds on infertile ground. It's just
Mhm.
it's just not your
Hmm.
time. You know what I'm saying? I could have been talking to all blue in the face. If it wasn't your time to receive that, it just wasn't your time. You know what I'm saying?
Can I tell y'all his response?
Yes.
Okay, so when I had these conversations with him, and I'll make it quick because I know I can get a little long-winded. When I had
Wait a
these
minute.
conversations with him, Trey, don't play with me.
I was hoping she missed that.
When I had these conversations with him, his response was always like, you could see him processing it in his mind, and he'd be like, "Thank you for telling me that." Let him tell it, going by the feedback he gave me. I'm really big on feedback. I'm trying to get my whole life together. So the feedback he gave me was every time he would have an issue with a woman as far as actions not meeting up with intention. Because if you think about it, that's a lot of our problems. Our
That's a
actions and
human
intentions
problem.
don't
That's
match.
There's no sex. for that.
Right. So he said the issues he was having was the way the information was delivered was via argument. I'm yelling at you because you're not giving me what I need or what I want. You're disappointing me in some way, and this is how I'm letting it out. When I talked to him, it was exactly how I'm talking to y'all, because I wasn't emotionally invested in the situation, but I am personally working on my communication. So I said, all right, Tay, and I hate speaking in third person, but I just want y'all to know what my brain was. I was like, withdraw the emotion and have an objective conversation. So I sat him down and I said, hey, if I was a woman who was looking for more from you, here are the actions that you exhibited that would confirm for me that that's what you wanted to without the conversation. I said, a lot of times as women, we seek your intent, or as people, we seek your intent through your actions.
Yeah.
The way you're behaving, and I gave him actionable stuff. That's another thing. We have to stop speaking in generalities and expecting the person to understand our perspective. I said, here are the specific actions that you demonstrated that would cause me as a person to relate to X, Y, and Z. And so that's why I would call him out and be like, I'm gonna stop you right here. What you're doing right now in this moment,
that's what I'm talking about.
that would lead me. Right. I was like, that would lead me to believe that you want more from me. Thankfully, I'm not seeking those things. So the way I process your actions isn't convoluted with my emotions. I'm looking at this strictly objectively because, as y'all say, I've already determined he's not worth my crown. So I'm like, I'm telling you, when you tell me that, oh, women have these expectations and then they get mad, woo woo woo. Here's what you're doing to to inadvertently lead them on to think that you have the same intentions. So when he received it, he kind of sat there literally, and it was almost like I was waiting for the smoke to come out his ears because you could see the wheels turning in his head, because that's how I had the conversation. Because I'm sick of this men versus women. Women always do this. Men always do that. We can't do that anymore. Stop speaking in generalities. Stop putting people in boxes. Yeah. So every time he would do something that, in my opinion, my personal opinion, would lead a woman to believe he wanted more, I would stop in that moment on the spot and be like, you see how you just did that there? If I was someone looking for more, that would have led me to believe that you agree. I would do that every time. Not in a messed up way, no attitude, because again, I'm not emotionally invested. And the way he received the information was different, because I wasn't a woman coming at him angry because he wasn't fulfilling a need or because he wasn't meeting a specific, goal that I had set for myself. And that's what he said he was used to: women whose basically biological clock was ticking, because he was very close to 40, whose biological clock was ticking. So they want a man, they want a boyfriend, and they're working on a husband. And so when he just wouldn't do what they wanted him to do in that moment, like move in or try to get them pregnant and all that extra stuff, he would just be confused. Like, I thought that we already determined that's what it wasn't. So I had to tell him, the things that you're doing because maybe you're comfortable doing it, or you think I want it to keep me around, this would lead me on if I was a woman on a different path. Yeah. And he received the information differently. So I do believe a lot of times our delivery has a lot to do with it.
That's why I said that what we know is that he didn't know that, because I heard you say before, he told you, I never thought about it that way. That's what you said. So in this particular case, we have a man who has not been presented that the way you presented it to him. And there's a good chance that he'll operate differently after you did that. And a lot of women don't want to do that because they feel like you should know already. Well, okay, some people don't know.
And I used to be that woman. I used to be like, especially with him, he's older than me. I'm 36. Yeah. He's older than me. I used to be like, come on, man, you don't know this by now. Like, come on. And I would get frustrated and I wouldn't communicate. We have to, as humans, we have to start giving people actionable stuff.
Yep.
Stop speaking in generalities and assuming that that's going to give them the latitude and longitude to your thoughts.
To make different
choices. Stop. Tell them specifically, when you did this has the second and third effect of possibly this. And that's what I'm doing as a person. And that's with anybody in my life, because I'm that person where, like it's been spoken of before, Black women, a lot of times we are raised differently. So my assumption is always, you know better. My assumption is we all raised like this, so you know better. If I know this as a woman, you definitely better know it as a man. I don't want to get it twisted for anybody watching. I love Black men. And if I could send a major kiss to all of y'all out in the world, I would. I want to love on you. I want to hug on you. I want to send you the positive spiritual energy. I want you to have all of that. I don't want people to think I'm a Black man hater. I speak from experience because, again, when we speak from emotion and in generalities, it makes it harder to understand. So my Black stepfather actually, was an amazing man. That same dude who I told you his mother called me and said, what is my son supposed to do? He looked me right dead in my face and said, you think I'm going to be like your father? I could never measure up to him. Whoa. Now let me set the playing field. Whoa. My stepfather wasn't rich. He didn't even finish high school. He worked multiple jobs to keep his family fed. And that was it. He looked me in my face. Another man that's older than me. I rarely date my age. Another man that's older than me looked me in my face and said, I think you're so disappointed in me. This is before I learned how to communicate effectively, or more effectively. I don't know if it's effective. But he looked me in my face and said, you want me to be your father. I will never measure up to him. I didn't even know what to say after that, because I would process every man in my life as, if my dad was raised this way, you all should be acting like that. And if you're not acting like that, it's because you trash. That was always my assumption.
Well, let me say this, Tay. So it's two things with that. Number one, unfortunately, ain't everybody raised the same way. And this is why I have been blessed and fortunate to have the Filter Free show. For all those new people, we actually started because of R. Kelly and that daggone docu-series that popped off that they did. And I was just, at that point, we talked individually and then we came together collectively. It was like, yo, what is going on? Like, Why don't we love our black women? Why aren't we taking care of our kids? Why did the whole community allow this to happen, right? So it's evident that not everybody was raised the same way, and that's extremely sad. I'm sorry, I got 3 cameras on me. That's why I keep looking all over the place. So, you know, that's something that we have to take into consideration. No, unfortunately, most people weren't raised the right way. Now, with that, when we go back to episode 2, whose man's is this?
Come on.
I said specifically, there comes a time and a point in your life, you reach a certain age where a lot of them excuses that you used to use, that you didn't know no better and all that goes out the window. My age frame was 25 because you know your car insurance dropping, all that other good stuff. At 25, you don't live enough life. So on one hand, I agree. We should know better.
25 is a stretch.
We should have been raised to know better. But at the exact same time, you have been on this planet way too long, and you know the basics. You know right from wrong. You know if you're treating somebody the way that you would want yourself would want to be treated. Like, I may not know exactly what LaCora needs to be happy in a relationship, but I know the basics. I got the foundation, and we can build from there. You know what I mean? And
that's not a reasonable assumption, though. That's not, because if nobody's giving you that feedback, that's like that person who sexually, right? Sorry, Trey, edit this out. I love you.
Nah,
so
your thing.
That's like that person in the bedroom where they be like, yo, I ain't never had no complaints. That don't mean you good. Like, I've dealt with people who said I never had no complaints, and I was like, yo, I could have just had a V8 instead, and I would have got more satisfaction. So we have to, I think as far as us saying we want people to know better, you know what you know until you know better. And I live by that motto. If nobody's giving you that feedback, especially in a society that teaches women, you want a man to lock you down and you want him to marry you. Well, most of them are settling and not giving men that feedback. They're accepting. That's a whole nother conversation, Jay.
Can we segue?
Well, here's the thing too, right? So there's feedback from women, but we need to bring into account feedback from men, right?
From us. That's why we have this show.
I get used as that all the time because everybody knows that I'm going to tell them the truth unadulterated, and I don't care beyond that, right?
It
so
is horrible.
When people want to know, is it me? Like, am I not doing that right? They come to me because I'm like, yes, nigga, yeah.
You know, it's you.
Yes. Yes, she has all the reason to think what she thinks. You gave it to her. You empowered her in that way. And now you want to just snatch it, like you did that, you know. But not every man is going to tell another man that. One, because not every man even knows what it is. But the ones that do don't care enough. And I think that men need to be friends to each other better.
Real friends.
Friends.
Well, like, once again, that's a whole nother conversation because folks don't know what friends mean. Hell, people, we discussed this. Like, if you ask somebody what love is, a lot of people can't tell you what love is. I mean, they can give you the Webster's, or they can get on their brand and give you 1 Corinthians. You know what I'm saying? They can do that, but in practice, and you know what I mean. And folks are disconnected. Like, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I turned 40 this year. I had the wake up call of my life 5.5 years ago when old girl did what she did. I ain't never cried this much. Like, my whole life changed.
She do try.
Hey,
tell mama what the girl did.
Hey, that's a private conversation.
It was traumatic.
I'm sorry.
But
that's a private phone call situation.
My bad. Go ahead,
but
Trey.
the reality for me was, at the end of that, was there was a lot of things that was revealed to me about myself that I had no idea that I was doing or not doing that should have been done. And it took me like 2 years post breakup to get past the pain, to get past yo, she did me dirty. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I was in the house, I was cooking, I was cleaning. Like, she didn't have to do nothing. Like, I called Brandon. I was like, yo, I do everything. And like, she just
said just like that.
Just like that. I said everything.
Okay.
And she out here running the streets, living her best life in LA. Like, when it gets to a point that you can't go to 7-Eleven because you might run into somebody that was cool with your junk, like, that's a problem. But then I realized, you know what? For all I was doing, the fundamentals, I wasn't. I didn't know me.
And can we use that to segue into the husband part? Like,
come on, hell, I ain't no husband.
It's not even about me. It's not even about what I think a husband is supposed to be. Well, we could talk about that because my response might shock some people. My thoughts on what it means to support a woman and take care of a woman are very different from the average person's response to what it means to take care of a woman.
Then do it.
But I really want to hear from Ari. I really want to know what you think a husband should be. I think that a lot of men will be surprised at what women actually think a husband is supposed to be, as opposed to what we think a husband is supposed to be.
So I talk about this sometimes on the On Muvas podcast as well. As I've had really great examples of what a male leading his household and a husband should be. Whether or not I always pick it as the people that I date or the people that I chose to have children with, I have that foundation. And for me, it's watching my grandfather or watching my stepfather who raised me, so my dad, take care of his household. The women, like my mom and my grandma, they work, but they don't have to. The house is taken care of. The bills are paid. We will always have a roof over our head. The kids, as kids, we never really wanted for anything in the sense of I got to travel and play basketball. I went to a 4-year college. I got to go to my friend's house. Like, I had those experiences. And I think for me, that's what I look for in a husband is if I was today to say, yes, I want to be your wife, will my household be taken care of? Or am I still going to have to take on the load by myself and just have you here? Because if I have to do all of this, I don't need any title and I don't need to be your wife. Okay, I don't need it. So are you going to be able to lead this household and for me to be humble enough to follow you? Because I know I'm strong-willed and I'm not going to just listen to anything. So am I going to sit up and shut down and let you run this? Because if I'm not going to, then you're not husband material.
What would qualify in your eyes? What would qualify a man? Because we're just talking about is kind of like you're touching on submission from a Christian or traditional standpoint. What would qualify a man for you to allow him to lead it? Is it simply that he's providing for the household? Because right now, what else?
I think the biggest thing for me is the household, only because right now where I am supporting the girls by myself, pretty much, it's like I gotta make sure that they're gonna be taken care of and I'm gonna be taken care of. So it's the household taken care of. For me, I've also watched my grandma and my mother put their own feelings on the back burner. Right. And so now I need you to be able to support me in all my endeavors. So I think for me, it is, you got to, definitely take care of the household and everything else can follow. I can teach you how to take care of me, but I can't teach you and I can't give you the drive to take care of this household. You got to come with that. Yeah. You got to want to support everything else that's got going on.
And before we get into any other men, can we just go to each female and get that same response? That would be dope.
LaCora, go ahead, break us off.
Okay, yeah, for me, security and safety, not just financially, but emotionally. Are you there? Do you know me? How are you decisive? Can I learn from you? Because indecisiveness, a man that can't stand up when things are wrong or right, I can't follow behind that. You know what I mean? So am I secure? And do I feel safe within your emotional decisions, your financial decisions, your leadership decisions? If you're going to say, babe, I want to move to Washington, I think it'll be great for the family, and you have some great reasons as to why, you know what I mean? If I'm secure and I'm safe within you holistically, like I said, financially, emotionally, just all of the aspects, you know, like, are you listening to God? Are you listening to self? Is this ego driven? Is this driven based off of what you think it should look like because your friends are saying X, Y, and Z? Or are you a man because you say you a man and you know you a man? You know what I mean? So for me, I have to know that you know who you are. I have to know that you know whose you are. I have to know where you are going. You know what I mean? Because if a man is a man and he knows and he just knows, then I'm like, all right, baby, I know too. You know, well, it is what it
He said, I
is.
know too.
You know what I mean? Even if I don't know, but because he's such a man and he is a leader and he's not easily persuaded by other people or little whispers or what he sees on TV or Cardi B's WAP, whatever it may be. He's not impressed or fascinated by these shiny things. He's a man, and he knows that he is a man. I could follow you. You could be my husband. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
That's dope.
that's what it is for me.
with it.
Safety and security and the knowing of who
Get
you
it,
are.
why?
You are.
Awesome.
Everything
And
she just said is 0.
Yep.
Those are the things that you shouldn't be teaching a man.
Yeah, exactly. And
not at this stage of the game, bro. Like if you're not that dude, why are you asking somebody to be your wife? Like why are you
Talk about it.
why are you
And
there with it
Tay,
at all?
And Tay, I want to talk to you. Is a husband something that you want? Is that something that you want in your future?
We gonna
And
go
if
deep.
and if there is something that you want, what would or let me rephrase that. If you don't want a husband, so do you or do you not want a husband? And if you don't want a husband, is there a type of man that will make you reconsider your stance on that?
Joaquin, she got a whole
Wow.
damn man.
She's gonna take the whole bottle. Come on.
First of all, Ms. Evans, I done cleared out this whole bottle thanks to you. Second, oh wow. That's a deep question. Do I want a husband? Do I want one in like the next year or two? No. But then that made me think about, literally as you were talking, I thought about why don't I want that? Well, because I have been taught for so many years that that's not available for me. And so I finally accepted that, okay, that's fine. I'll stop looking because the disappointment can become too much sometimes.
Okay.
Right. So when I talk about my stepfather, that's the epitome of a man to me. This man, without a high school education, without a college education, his family was always taken care of. Oh Lord, my AirPod's about to die. His family was always taken care of. And it got to a point where I would make his favorite tea. We will make sure his food was piping hot when he got home. And it didn't feel like an obligation. It felt like a privilege because we were secure. And I'm going to go piggyback off of both Ariel and LaCora. That security means everything to me. I have a very strong personality. Y'all already know 18 years in the military, you got to have one. So as a woman to submit, I would love to. Don't get it twisted. If I could have a man that would make me feel safe, secure, financially, emotionally, spiritually, to where I could just chill and be vulnerable. I've been telling people what to do my whole life. I'm tired. I'm tired of being strong. I'm tired of holding down the household. I'm tired of being 100% mama and daddy. I'm tired. But we don't get days off. It's like living in fight or flight for years. So as for my husband, like LaCora said, you got to be secure in yourself. You can't get with your homeboys and then y'all have a conversation and now all of a sudden you come home and you treating me weird. Like Ariel said, if I get in a car accident and I'm disabled tomorrow, are we gonna be okay? Or are we gonna be homeless? Like LaCora said, can I come to you in a moment of vulnerability and you're going to protect me? Tell me the truth, but protect me. If somebody physically busts up in this house, are you an asset or a liability? Am I going to have to shoot for you, or can I shoot alongside you, or even be comfortable enough to where we're laying in the bed and you say, baby, don't get up? Can I get that from a man? And so far,
you
knocking
can
on
absolutely
40's
get that
door.
From a man. Anybody
you can get it from a man, you probably can't
y'all.
get it from yours.
Yeah.
Knocking on 40's door, life has told me no multiple times. So I've settled sometimes for the physical element, right? And I'm gonna get to you, Brother Blue, because I hear you in the background. I appreciate you so much. So, like, as far as a husband, would I want one? Absolutely, because that means I can finally relax. I'm tired. I want a break. I'm not saying I'm not going to fulfill my role in the marriage, but I'm tired of playing both roles. I don't even get enough checks for this. However, I've accepted for most of us that's not the reality. So while I would love a husband, I'm not gonna settle for nothing a dude just because I want a body to fill a space. If he can't hit all those points, I don't want it. You don't got to be perfect. You don't even got to come to me with your stuff together. For me, it's intent. Are you working to be better? Are you working to bring more to the table? And then we could go from there. So I guess the long-winded, the short way, yes, what I would love a husband, but I'm also accepting that might not be a possibility. If that makes sense.
It does, Tay. It does.
Well, first of all, just from a man, women ain't supposed to just submit to anybody. You can't submit to any old fool. Like, what the, you know
Where
what I mean?
the organs at? Where is Mr. Blue?
Please give that man an organ. Please give that man an organ. And please touch on it a little further because people think that every time men come around, you're supposed to submit to him. No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
Come on, Ariel.
It's
Beacon, speak on that, man.
Yeah, Beacon. You over there quiet today, brother.
Nah. Beacon, I see you.
I'm processing a lot. I mean, listen, if you want me to be honest, the reason why I get quiet in these conversations is because I only have one reference point to give to you, and that's the Bible.
But we appreciate your reference point. I don't ever want you to think
go
that
therefore and what.
It's not like being quiet.
Thank you, Blue.
It's not like being quiet because I'm shy or anything like that. It's just I guess
you're being considerate, and I get it. But I want you to be yourself also, though.
Right, and I don't want to keep having to push this narrative, but the truth is,
show and tell us what's on your mind.
Well, there's just so much trauma that so many of us are all going through, and none of this goes away until we begin to really start to look at those traumas individually and work on healing. As a woman, if you know that it's a part of your divine design to play a role of submission, although submission is not weakness, submission takes a whole lot of strength. You know, if you know that that's your role, then yeah, you unfortunately you guys are in this position to where you have to doubly guard yourselves from us, because there's so much that we go through that we're just so unaware of. I said it in the last taping. I grew up, like many of us, didn't have a lot of things, but there were a lot of things that happened to me very early in life. I was molested 5 and 6. My father was not in the picture. For a little bit of time, he was in the picture, but when he was in the picture, he was abusive. So I saw that. Thankfully, my mom was strong enough to get rid of him so that it didn't become an influence on me. So I was never that dude, but there was still the issue of those pictures that play around, seeing my mom being abused. Then my mom, you know, she raises, don't have a lot of money. I get bullied. I'm dealing with the molestation issues, like compounding issues that I have to go through my teens, through my early 20s, even into my 30s. Same thing. I just turned 40 this year, and it's only been in the last couple of years that I've really broken ground because of my faith and because of my spirituality, right? I said it on the last show, God awareness equals self-awareness. I only know how jacked up I am because I know how good Jesus is, right? I'm not trying to put this on other people, but I'm just trying to tell you how I've been able to see it. And so what we got to understand is we have got to have conversations about where men are flawed and what's causing those things, and like love, you know, Blue, I forget the way that you said it, but this idea of many of us don't understand love. Like if we just pick out one of the many things we could talk about, a lot of times, you know, you're in a club, you're chilling with the homies, y'all dancing, you see somebody and she's super attractive. So the first thing we got to be honest is it's the attractiveness that draws us to them anyway. So that's not to be avoided and act like it's not a part of the conversation. Oh, well, I just want to get to know you. No, you don't just want to get to know me. You never just want to get to know me. The fact that you find me attractive, it started you wanting to get to know more. Right? So we can never just ignore that like it's not a part of the conversation. But in that, we start thinking that arousal that we feel when we meet each other and when we talk, that even there might even be chemistry there. We start thinking that chemistry is love, and you know, it's just like, oh, I want to spend all my time with this person, and I just want to be around you. And we think that that's love, and it's not really love, because when you read the Bible, you read 1 Corinthians 13, you see that love is a giving action. It's not a receiving action. So many of us in relationships just because of what we get from the person or what we think we can get from the person.
Right.
And we never really address what it is that we're supposed to be giving. And so, unfortunately, we see this habit of Black women being in relationships and women being in relationships with men who aren't really bringing anything to the relationship, but they have no idea that that's what actual love calls for in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got to start talking about more about these awareness issues and where men are, because it does seem very much on many levels like we're falling short.
So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This has been a lot of fun. I want to say thank you to all these beautiful, Black, melanated,
come on,
sexy, intelligent, angry.
Chocolate.
Because apparently, because the news keeps saying you all Black women is angry, but I ain't seen so many smiles on no Black women's face since Kamala became vice president elect. So I want to say to all the Black women, thank you. Keep doing you.
Appreciate
Keep
it.
being strong and weak. Understand that we got you. We here for you. And the real answer to the question, is he worthy and worth your crown? The answer is yes, if he is doing what he is supposed to do. Yes.
The answer is hell no.
So listen, he is worthy.
He's never worth your crown.
Oh my God.
If he is willing
oh
to
Lord,
listen,
my
he is
God.
worthy if he understands that he's not only supposed to take care of your wants, but can appropriately provide your needs in moderation the way that it's supposed to. Because a lot of times we get confused on our wants and our needs. A lot of things that we want ain't what we supposed to have. And
hey look, can I say my stipulation is this: he's worthy of your crown if he's willing to give you his. No man should expect your submission if he isn't willing to submit.
I couldn't get off of mute quick enough. Where's the organs? My God,
it's very simple.
He said I couldn't get off mute quick enough.
It's not complicated.
Well, why? But the problem is something. One other thing before we wrap up tonight, we need to realize and understand that relationships ain't 50-50.
That's 100.
Listen, this is my personal belief. See, internet get ready to be mad at me. Men get ready to be mad at me. As a man, you walk into a relationship. If anything goes wrong, shout out to Joaquin, it's your fault. If your woman ain't acting right, if your house ain't right, it's your fault. Because as the man, if we expect her to submit, we expect us, you to lead. But when you don't know how to lead, it's a problem. And everybody meant to lead. You can't lead if you don't know how to follow. And the problem is, so many of us have gotten accustomed to following strong Black women. And as they said on this show, every man's
not going to be like, the He-Man, the Barack Obama or whatever. Every man's not going to be that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all right. It's what's important is to understand that, and I've touched on this before, but a woman's submission should be an empowering act. It's not supposed to be lessening of a woman to offer a man her submission. That's not how it's supposed to work. The same way that submitting to a higher power is supposed to empower us. It's not an act of lessening ourselves or cheapening ourselves. It's actually raising ourselves up. It's the same thing when the woman submits to a man. If it's the proper man, he understands the gravity of the gesture and he begins to sow into his woman more.
Understands the gravity of the gesture. That's really important.
It's very important.
Puts you in
that sounds like a soundbite,
in a place where you can appreciate.
That's
you
what
can't
it is.
Appreciate if you don't understand.
You can't be grateful for it because you don't understand what she's doing by offering her submission. It's how the system is designed to work.
So Joaquin, what I'm taking from you is, instead of us asking, is he worthy of your crown, we should be asking ourselves, are we worthy of her crown?
Absolutely. It's on us. It's always, and this is something, again, I don't want to get into too much, but when I'm acting in the position of a spiritual advisor for a lot of people, and they come to me with their relationship issues, they always want to talk to me about their partner. And I don't allow that to happen. We're not here to talk about what your partner's doing. Let's talk about what you're doing. Right. We don't need to discuss them at all. Let's talk about you and what's going on with you and what you're allowing. We don't need to fix them. We need to just worry about what you're allowing to go on in your own sphere of influence. Right. It doesn't have anything to do with the other person. It's always about you. It's always about me. When I'm looking at my interactions with other people, it's always about me. It's never about what they're doing. It's always about what I'm doing and how I'm responding to their actions. They don't even matter in the equation.
You know what?
Messages to
a lot of times, a lot of things that don't have to be. So guilt doesn't have to be associated with fault.
Not at all.
Right? So because you take responsibility and say that happened because of a decision that I made, period. And we all know when that's the case, right? We all know. There's no woman on earth that's going to respect you trying to say that it isn't. It doesn't mean you should walk around with guilt. We all make mistakes and negative things happen as a result of our decisions, right? Mm-hmm. This is one of those things for me. To be able to identify that, take that responsibility on as a positive and not associate guilt with it, but the empowerment to make a positive change. Now that I know that was because of what I did, I can operate differently and have a different result. That's exciting to a man, right? To somebody who isn't a man, that's demoralizing, crushing, and devastating. But to a man, it's exciting. Oh, I know anywhere that I find that the problem comes from, I'm empowered. If it happens to be me, what matters is that I identified it.
Yeah.
And I'm not ego driven, and it has nothing to do with where it came from. I just want to identify the problem so that I can fix it. Oh, this one came from you, sweetheart. This is you. That's babe. Like, come on, man. Like that right there. Come on. But this one, that's what I brought to the table. So I can now make sure that doesn't happen again. And that's what I'm excited about. And people don't get excited about the right things.
And let's talk about how leadership doesn't negate humility.
Absolutely.
And how if we're talking about stipulations for is he worthy of your crown, is he humble?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he has to be weak. No. But if I speak harshly to my wife, I need to be humble enough to apologize and to say that was uncalled for. I need to be humble enough, and not just to feel that way, but to communicate that to her in a way that she understands that I understand my role in that exchange. Yeah. That's not a weak, that's a strong thing to do.
Absolutely.
It takes strength to be humble. It doesn't take strength. A weak man is boisterous. Yeah. A humble man is strong.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Woo, Arcane, come on.
Coming through with a word. Listen, I just want to take this time to say thank you so much to Ari, LaCora, and Tay. I appreciate you all for coming today, giving us a word, telling me what y'all need in a husband, so I can slide in your DMs later. And I'm playing.
Come on.
I already know who's sliding in whose DMs. I already peeped that from the beginning. I'm like semi-psychic on my mom's side. You know what I'm saying? So like, I already know the DMs that are being slid into after this.
But like I said, on behalf of Filter Free and my fellow co-hosts, we appreciate you. We love you. We're thankful that you all took the time on a Saturday. Y'all could have been anywhere else in the world, but y'all decided to be here with us, and we really are thankful and really are grateful. For me, it means the world to me because it's been a long year for us. Come February, it'll be 2 years that Filter Free got together. We've made a lot of progress. We've had members come and go, but we here and we strong. And the fact that we're wrapping up 2020 with you beautiful women means the world to me.
What better way? Come on, Jack.
So I do want to, I would be remiss if I did not shout out two people who were supposed to be with us today that could not make it because they had prior obligations. So I want to shout out Mama Raven, aka Miss Raven Bowden. Her son had a football game today that she could not miss because they're shutting the state back down where she's at. So this is the very last time that they could go out. So she went to support her son. So I'm supporting her and her
that.
son. So hopefully they won or they win. And I want to shout out the other half of the On Muvas Podcast, Miss Chatty Patty, aka Miss Patty Mayo. I wish she could have been here with us today, but unfortunately she was unable to. But Ari came in and represented for her. So thank you so much. I love you all. And this has been Filter Free. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that other good stuff. And we will see y'all in 2021 when we have a new president.
Hey!
And
hey!
we support everything Black. So all of the Instagrams will be below. All the businesses, all of the endeavors, anything you need to know. If you want to reach these beautiful ladies, you can, their Instagrams and whatever they need for you to reach them will be right there.
And you better come correct too.
And
you
we've already slid in. So if you know we slid in already, you got to come with it. Okay. Just
you probably not making much traction.
Okay. At least being Trey done slid. So
I already know. I'm deciding that it will be slid.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
Need you to mind your business, Joaquin.
I don't know. This is
we just trying to set the bar.
My power of insight. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching.
Slide in for us. We slide in to set the bar. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody else.
Okay. I'm with it. I don't want to be your husband. I just want to let you know what a husband looks like.
This is what you should be looking for.
That's a point of reference. Right. This is just a point of reference.
Less than this. Nothing less than this. This is where
I'm like a training husband. You know what I'm saying?
And you're not married no more. We still the point of reference where your marriage should have been.
Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, we training husbands. We training husbands. That's what we are, like a training bra. It's like a training husband. You know what I'm saying? You can graduate to a real husband after us.
I'm just saying. Just don't switch up on us in the end. Just keep that in.
That's happening. That's happening. That's definitely happening.
This is my cross to bear. This is what I'm called to do.
So thank you so much. We love y'all. We'll see y'all in the new year. And this has been Filter Free.
All right.
Peace.
All right.